growing weary of running from room to room, practicing one-tooth insurance-driven dentistry? Then stay tuned for the latest episode of The Lionhearted, where Dr. Stephen Rasner will hand you the blueprint for what many call the gold standard of general practice dentistry.
Hi everyone, Dr. Steve Rasner here, and welcome to the Lionhearted Dental Podcast. I'm really in a good mood because we've made a strong comeback in the last month or so with those of my friends out there downloading the podcast, and it inspires me. I mean, I'm actually doing this on a Thursday night after working a whole week, and I've gotten some letters recently globally, one from a friend of mine in Germany, and I love when you guys do that, and I hope you let me know that I am influencing you in some way. And by the way, I looked at some of the topics that you seem to like the most. I alluded to this just last week. The one that I spoke about recently was called "You're Probably Undervaluing What You Do Each Day," the services you provide. And then the result of you undervaluing that is not charging enough and being intrepid when you do examinations and hence case presentations. And the point of that podcast, if you haven't heard it, was to make you take a long look at how difficult the job that you and I chose to do for our lives, how difficult this is. And how you do deserve, if you have taken it to a lion-hearted level, you do deserve to be compensated and should not feel intimidated by that. So, last week I brought up the role of your staff and team, and I really felt it needed a follow-up conversation for those of you that heard it last week. I spoke about that you will only be as successful, it is crystal clear to me, as the team that you've put together, whether that's a team of 3 or a team of 20 like I have. And if you haven't put an amazing amount of energy into that part of your practice, just like I demand of you clinically, then you'll never reach the heights that are possible for you there. And not only that, it'll be more of a struggle for you to reach whatever level that you're at this time. And I don't think I was specific enough. So I'm going to talk a little more about what I think you need from your team. Listen, man, I know I've said what I'm about to say many times if you listen to a lot of my podcasts. And what I said is that even under the lion-hearted principles like mine, this is a very tough profession. It is. It's tough because just stop and think. You don't do this. You don't stop and think about it because you do it every day. But stop and think about choosing a profession where to provide your medical, doctoral education, the patient has to open their mouth. Okay? They have to voluntarily open their mouth to things that are really scary. Needles, and all the other things that we do. I know that might be coming across to you right now as, what is he talking about? But I never even thought about it. I didn't. And it is really a very specialized arena of medicine. That, I mean, all the others can put their patients to sleep to perform invasive procedures. But for the most part, you and I don't do that. Now, I am an incredible advocate of oral sedation. That's maybe why. But for those of you that haven't, which is most of you, that haven't got to that threshold, this is really hard. And even when you do it the way I do it, well, what does that mean? Well, I have an amazing team that supports my efforts that I'm about to elaborate on as to what my team provides and what I want your team to provide. When you get to sedate most of your patients, when you get paid up front, so that's not an issue that you have to constantly worry about, and you kind of taken the cash flow dilemma of a dental practice, of a private dental practice, out of the equation. And it's a big deal, man. I don't know, like I either all of you are listening to me and you're just effortlessly accomplishing these things I'm alluding to, or I don't know what. What's your point of listening to me then? You know, when I talk about get paid up front, that's not the point of this podcast, but it's because of what I just said. It solves so many of the issues that so many of my colleagues have. Well, when you do that the way I do, when you sedate patients, when you have this symphony of a team, because I've earned that symphony of a team. I have put so much work into that part of the practice. Even when you're doing all that, and I walk in for my first patient on Monday morning, which will be 3 days from now, and that patient likely will be sedated, anesthetized by my hygienist, room out, completely ready 99% of the time. A nice schedule where I've given myself more time than I need. Another Lionhearted principle. Are you hearing me now, man? Can you feel this? Even when you're doing that, I think this is a hard profession. Even when you have 6K weeks, like I've had all 2021. Almost every week in 2021 was over $100,000. That was with me and an associate. And I assure you, most of that is coming from me and my hygiene team of I have 5 hygienists, but 3 really full-time going hard. And when you have all that, I still think it's hard. I still need a 3-day week. I mean, these principles, and I know I'm slipping out of what my focus for tonight, but these principles simply work. And they don't cost a lot of money. They cost a lot of effort. So let me get to it before I sidetrack myself again. So if your staff ever listens to these podcasts, which I know some of them do, this is a good one. And I probably will generate some hate mail or haters when I say what I'm about to say, but I have reasons for everything I'm about to say. But before I tell you what you need from the Lionhearted team of staff, let me tell you what I think they should get in return. Number one, I think they should get the top pay anywhere close to your area for the position in your office of what they're doing. I assure you I subscribe to that. I will pay for a person's worth in my practice, not really what they're doing as a job. I have a dental assistant that is way more productive than my dental hygienist and hence makes way more than that. She sets teeth on dentures. I've gone over this many times. I call her a master dental assistant. I couldn't begin to provide the type of provisional, beautiful crown she does in the aesthetic zone while I'm in another room producing. Well, that's producing in that room. These are out of the mouth, done meticulously. And she's improved year after year. She's been with me over 25 years. Yes, she makes significant dollars. But I would do that, and I do that, on multiple levels of my team. Unasked for bonuses. I've told you many times, to me, the way a Lionhearted office, no, again, I do this with 20 staff members. Maybe I couldn't do it with 30 I don't know because I've never had 30. But I'm able to know who is worthy in a family of 20 patients, 20 staff members, who's worthy of getting a bonus. And that is a powerful way to inspire a team member when they get an extra check in their paycheck for you noticing the increase that they have brought to the office. Now, that increase could be reduce of overhead due to things they're doing. For example, my dental assistant gets furious at me if I ask my dental lab to make custom trays or bite blocks. And on rare occasion, for whatever reason, I do forget, and I ask them to do that. And she'll run back and show me the very high bill that they charge me, the fee, to do something she says she could do in 15 minutes in the lab. So this person that gets bonused reduces my overhead. They increase my productivity, or your productivity. They improve morale. By the way, we don't take a set lunch. I did want to mention real quickly, we all find time to break for 15, 20 minutes, and we've done that for 40 years. I just find it slows down the whole day. If I want to be off, I'm going to be off. As it is, I don't recommend you work more than 4 days a week. But I don't need an hour in the middle of my day to slow it down and then start it back up. I have never subscribed to that, and I would never recommend that. You do what works for you. But in our kitchen, it was always a problem, I know you can relate to this, as to who left their dishes in the sink, who left their plate with the food on the table. Has anybody thought in the last year to clean the refrigerator besides me on Thursdays when I get ready to leave? There's got to be somebody's sandwich in there from 7 months ago. I know you can relate to that. And every time I brought it up to my team, I know I have a beautiful kitchen for my team, complete with refrigerators, of course, and stove, and it's spacious, and it's nice. I was proud when I put that all together. And we solved that problem, one of my staff did, by putting a calendar up several years ago with the name revolving of each staff member who's responsible for the week of April 4th. And the next one's April 11th, and the next one's the 18th. And it doesn't matter who put the dishes there. If that's your week, you're responsible, besides your job in the office, for cleaning the kitchen. Everybody's name is on there, except mine. Every single person at the front desk, in the back, everybody. That came from a staff member, and it's worked for years and has made me very happy. So that's how you get bonused, by bringing something to the table that reduces overhead, increases your productivity, and even improves morale. We're also flexible. When you run a dental office and have 20 employees or even 4, a lot of them are moms, and there's stuff called mom stuff, which might involve taking kids to a game, or this year one of my hygienists, it seems like one of my hygienists is off every month going on a trip to see potential colleges for their kid. Or I remember I had a dental assistant for many years that every March through May coached soccer, which meant she left the office twice a week at 2:30. And if they're good, I find a way around it. Right now, as I speak to you, I have 2 different dental assistants. One leaves on Mondays early. She's in college for something. I can't even remember what it is. But they both are, excuse me. And I have another one. Now that'll be going on for 4 months, each of them. And a lot of times it has nothing to do with dentistry or my benefit. That's what I mean by being flexible. So top pay, unasked for bonuses or raises if they demonstrate the things I alluded to, flexibility. We provide and encourage CE, almost endless. There's no course that they could come to me and I would, well, there is. I mean, I'm not going to send the whole team to Hawaii, but we've sent them to Florida many times. Being appreciative, not having them drag it out of you, but just being complimentary and appreciative, being kind, and being generous. I know it doesn't sound like much, but I buy my team lunch almost every week because we're always having killer weeks. If we have a crappy week, no, I don't buy lunch. And I know it's just lunch, but it seems to really make a lot of people happy. So, and it puts everybody in a good mood. Being around an upbeat doctor as your boss is not a bad, and working with great equipment. Yeah, look, when you're in a Lionhearted practice, these things I'm telling you probably are not foreign to you. And being around an upbeat doctor that tried to hire upbeat team members, so it's a collaborative, upbeat office. You can palpate that, man. That's not just fantasy stuff. It's real. It's not in a book. It's real. It's a Lionhearted vibe. Okay, what do I want? From the beginning in an interview, I'm going to give you about 7 things here. What does a Lionhearted boss expect? From the beginning, if I cannot proactively critique you and improve your performance, then this isn't going to work. I say that in the interviews. And I want to be honest with you. Everybody says, oh, of course you can. Yes, you can do that. And I mean proactively. You can talk to somebody about being, and really be with a smile on your face or be kind about it to help them know that very expensive dental assistant that I have that probably makes more than some early dentist, very early in their careers. You know, we went through a lot of growth over the years, and you know, she thought she was delivering a great product, and I had to teach her how to make it greater. So you got to be able to be capable of self-improvement. The next one, I don't care if you like it or not, you have to dress and look professional and immaculate. I don't want to even get into it right now of what I would not consider that, but clean is clean, fresh breath is fresh breath, nice clean hair. We're putting on a performance, and people like clean. And if you want me to elaborate, write to me. That's just the way it is. I don't ever want you to tell me that a patient say, you know what, rhymes with witch, rhymes with mole. I don't want to hear that. In our office, even if the patient's wrong, we are going to maintain always a sense of professionalism. We are not going to lose it and even lower ourselves to the level of another person, a patient, that is inappropriate with regards to things they were saying. But let me preface that. I am not going to allow a patient to be vulgar and use obscenities and stuff like that. No. And nor will I let them disrespect my team. But because they're hard to please, do you hear the difference here? Because they're hard to please is not a reason. I don't even want you telling me they're nasty. You know, that it's probably something we did. And you might be wondering, why am I making a point of this? Because I think it's common. I do. I think it's not that unusual to hear a staff member Oh my God. And listen, I do feel that way about a number of patients. I just maintain my composure and always keep a professional face. And now I want to tell you something. I don't remember the study, but there's a study out there. The number of people that are dissatisfied with a product, and in our case, that would be our services, tells an exponential amount of other people versus the person that loves us. The one that loves you might tell their significant other. But the ones that don't like you, because maybe a hygienist or dental assistant or you lost it for a minute, tell everyone. And we just don't need that type of negativity. Next, so you got to be able to take, I don't know how to say it, criticism or proactive criticism. We want you to look, I do, professional. There are times we all fix ourselves up to do something, do we not? I need that. I'm sorry. I demand it of myself. I also don't want somebody to ever think lazy. Never. Never do anything or say anything that makes me think it's said because you don't want to work any harder. Maybe we picked up an extra crown, an extra bridge. Maybe it does mean we have to work a little more efficiently right now over the next 2-3 hours. I don't mean I'm keeping you in the office till 7 o'clock at night. I'm not talking about that. But maybe the schedule was on the light side, like today for me. Because I always give myself more time than I actually need. And sometimes we're spot on and I am caught up. And, we had a chance actually to pick up, we often do, an extra crown that was unanticipated. In a doctor's early career, you don't think that's important and helpful? I want the Lionhearted team to want to do that. I don't even ever want to sense that you don't want to do something because it's a little harder. Hell to the no, I don't want to hear that. Oh, if you hate me on that one, you're going to really hate me on this one. I only want to ask for something once. And when I ask for something, I want you to really listen carefully. I must every day, the disc we get from Cosmonet that smooth our composites, and I don't do really composites, so that smooth my temporaries sometimes. I don't know what it is. Like all week I was asking a staff member, can you get me 4 small discs? And her response every time I said that was, small or large? I'm not even kidding you. Could you get me 4 large discs? 4 means all the 4 colors, from coarse to very fine. You want small or large? At least humor me that you're listening when I speak. Okay? So, or if I ask for something to get done, and I've had a big talk with you guys about this. Dental team members, if you want to stand out from almost everybody in your office, be the person that the doc can ask for something one time, no matter what that is, and it gets done. A lot of stuff comes up in our minds while we're drilling or doing our dentistry. We can't help it sometimes. And if you're like me, in the middle of something, I'll say, oh, would you get Janae real quick? Janae, did you call about the broken electrosurge? Would you take care of that for me? Now, I'm backed myself out of an operatory to get that off my mind. And I covet, I worship that staff member that took that little snippet that wasn't really in a meeting. It was like on the spot. Wrote it down, asked me whatever questions they needed to get that, and it is done. Don't make me have to ask tomorrow or next week, did you ever do that? Oh, gosh, I forgot. Oh, I'll get to it right away. No, that is not I ask you one time and it gets done. All right, I'm only going to get worse on your hate mail. When you're not here, Everyone's job just got harder. Now, no one in the world, everyone in the world knows that there's times when we have to be off work. There's times we don't want you at work if you're sick, particularly in the era of the pandemic. I get it. But I'm looking you in the eye right now, even if you're not watching me, Lionhearted podcast people. We all know there are people that take off, our team members, at questionable times. Often, for some really uncanny reason, it's a Monday. Why would that be? Or it's the Monday after they had a vacation. Listen, staff, we don't want to come back either sometimes on Monday or Monday after a vacation. We get it. We do. We like to have fun too. But when you're not here and you call out that morning, everybody's job just got harder. Everybody's. Front desk team member, less people answering the phone. Less people checking people out. In the back, oh my God. We really feel it. So, if you have to be out because you're ill, just really be ill. I told you were going to hate me after this. I'm sorry. This is when I talk about having a team that really gets it. It's every one of these things. If you start a recall program in your practice so that people in your team are going after, recall means you go after patients that are overdue 6 months. And we have programs in my office. I've talked about them. If you want any emails or specifics on this, please write to me, Dr. Rasner at AOL.com. DrRasner@AOL.com. Anything I've said in this podcast. But I'm telling you, I have programs. Quite honestly, I pay $20 a head times 10. What does that mean? This is me. I don't want anything back from you. You can come up with a better way than I have it. I'm telling you why I'm telling you this in a minute. So the way I do it is if a person in my staff wants to, it can be anybody, it can be a hygienist, it can be the assistant, front desk person, they're the most likely, can research and schedule 10 patients. Once they all come in and it's verified, you can't submit 9, I won't pay you. It has to be 10. Yeah, you get $20 times 10. It's $200. It's not chicken scratch. And it's worth it. I've tried a multitude of other avenues to have effective recall. And I've never had anyone other than the bribe that I just described. And it used to be $10, by the way, until a couple years ago. It didn't seem to motivate people anymore. My point is, if you institute policy in your office and your staff doesn't keep executing that policy, being on time, for example, being at the office was always a major, an arduous thing for me to accomplish. The staff would show up and I asked my team, I asked one person to be there 30 minutes before everybody else to check the phones. I have protocols for everything we do. That's why I wrote the protocol book. I wrote that 20 years ago. It's hard to believe. And one of them is, how do we start our day? And I don't need everybody there. I do. My clinical team is there. Actually, I got it wrong. One person's there an hour before everyone else. The rest of them are there 30 minutes before. Because it takes that long to prepare for a complex day in a Lionhearted office. I don't know how you can show up 5 minutes before the game and be ready at full optimal performance. I don't think it's possible. And when I walk into a room, I want to be ready to work. I don't want to walk in and do an extraction and have to ask, is there suture? Is there suture scissors? Whether or not I use them or not. I want my luxators. I want my forceps. I want everything. I want saline. I want everything. And I consider it an insufficient preparation if any of that's missing on anything I do. I want the electrosurge, the laser, if I'm doing crown and bridge. Now, how did they get to all that? Because over time, doctor, you will have the time to sit one night. It doesn't take that long. It'll take you a couple years. To what is everything you use for every procedure. And then you type it up and you put it in a laminated book. And whenever you start with somebody new, you take the laminated page out and you Xerox it. Xerox, is that even a word anymore? I don't think so, actually, Steve. So, I want my clinical team, I have a protocol called the Ready to Work protocol. I want you to check my drill. Maybe, why do I always get the drill? I have 28 of them. Why am I always getting the one drill where the burr doesn't turn unless I spin it a little bit? I have 28 of them. How do I always get that one? So all it would take is for you to put a burr in there, put your foot on the pedal, and make sure it's not that drill. The drill that I probably should have sent out by now, but I didn't. Do you get the picture? For my hygiene team, if you're going to come into the hygiene room, and if you've never asked me before, you should ask for my hygiene protocol check slip. That is a slip that the hygienist brings into my room. So I have, in my violin office, I have 3 hygienists. Their name or some cute little picture of them is at the top of this throwaway slip. On the top of it, it tells me what time they think they'll be finished, where they're at. It has a summary of, did they take x-rays, the last work that I did, any new chief complaints, work we've talked about but we haven't done yet. Do you get the picture? Because the one thing that none of us speak about is how much time, and you can't schedule for it properly, hygiene takes out of your day. If you have 2 hygienists, and so let's say they see 8 patients a day, that's 16. Let's say you spend 5 minutes per patient. That's not a lot. It takes a minute to get to the operatory. Well, 5 times 16 is 80. That's 80 minutes a day. Do you factor that in? Most of us don't. I don't. Well, I kind of do, because I give more time for my procedures than I need. So my point is, when I walk in there, help me. If it's they just have a little sore on their denture, have a bench engine. If you only have, when you start out your career, you don't have 7 bench engines in every operatory like I do. They feel a little soreness above tooth number 4. Have a PA. Not call me in the room, take a PA. By the way, I didn't finish my thought. It's called a hygiene check slip. I got it from Pete Dawson 30 years ago. And it just expedites and improves the efficiency of those of us. Even if you have one hygienist, it improves it. You should do it even with that person. They drop off the slip in your room, wherever you are. I've been using this system for 30 years. And they find the room I'm in, they drop it off. And the reason is most of us can take a 5-minute break at some point and not make the hygienist wait for you to get there. That is poison to your morale. Anyway, I've gone way over. I thank everybody for listening. I guess this is going to be it for my, at least at this point, my staff portion of their contributions to your success. It's very important. It is not a little thing. It's a big thing. And if I've spoken about something that you want more information on, please don't hesitate. I do appreciate all the downloads lately, guys. And by the way, if I haven't said it yet, my courses for the fall. I have 2 that are half sold out already. Look at the RasnerInstitute.com. There's one on extractions and bone grafting. It's half filled already. And that is in September. I think it's the 29th. And I have one in November for implants. And we just did one a week ago. And it's wildly successful. In that course, my doctors placed, 8 doctors placed close to 60 implants. They saw and did an internal sinus lift. They watched me do a lateral sinus lift. They did removal bilateral mandibular tori, huge, free gingival graft. It's really a cool course. And then I'm hosting the fabulous Rich Moran and Ehab Musa in October. It's just didactic, but if you look them up, Richard Miron, M-I-R-O-N, and Ehab Musa, M-O-U-S-S-A, they are on the top of their game in perio, in grafting, and what to put in sockets, and just amazing stuff that you would be a better dentist by listening to them. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week on The Lionhearted.